Hello and hi. 今日の動画では Yuzuha no Love Notes について話してます。So yeah, today we are talking about the debut album from the artist Yuzuha. She is a singer, songwriter, and producer, and so she does all of that on this album. This album came out last year in, I believe, July of 2024, and I have been listening to it a lot in recent months. So what can I say about this album? First off, it just sounds awesome. It sounds like you're like flipping through your phone for like Nokia ringtones. It's so cool. There are a lot of songs that make me feel this way, though in particular I think it would be two. That would be Click on You and also Shining Bright Star. Something else I should mention too is that this is only a 19-minute album, and normally I would maybe even just consider that an EP. However, Yuzuha herself refers to it as an album, so that's just what I'm going with. And so for that reason, I think it's more akin to almost like a mixtape where it's kind of going through multiple kinds of styles, and I would say that it is for sure Yuzuha trying to kind of experiment and really see what sticks, which of course is very common on debut projects like this. So speaking of those sounds, this album just has a very lovely sound palette, I think. The opening song Jirachi has these very like fluttery flute sounds like way in the background. They sound fantastic. The song Wonder Time features this like shanty-esque main melody. It's so weird, I love it. And there's also this like really weird but fun DDR techno break section on the song Shining Bright Star. Love that so much, and it continues to kind of play into that sort of 2000s techno aesthetic that this album is mainlining. Lots of the songs on this album just have these glistening synths and chimes that just kind of float around you in the audio space, and they are just so much fun to hear. They're so energetic, they're lively, and I just like listening to it for that reason. And so because of all that, I think Yuzuha really proves herself to be a fantastic producer across every song on this album. I just think that it's all so diverse and it all works so seamlessly and flawlessly, and it really took me by surprise. I just really like everything that she has kind of going on here. On top of that, there is some actual live instrumentation too, though it is fairly sparse. The song Go features a very clean kind of pop rock guitar melody that works fantastic. Another song called Kodama is more akin to an interlude than to an actual song. However, I really like it a lot, and I think it fits surprisingly well in the track list. I would say that it's more of a piano-led song with the sound of very loud bird chirps and also children playing in the background. I think it's just a really nice, serene moment on the album, and I like that a lot. I find that this album is paced very well, where it starts and ramps up high, and then it does kind of dip, but then it shoots right back up, and that seems very intentional and is something that I appreciate when an artist is able to successfully accomplish that when figuring out how to place things on their album. And if you've seen my other videos, you would know that I am a huge stickler for this kind of thing. One other piece of live instrumentation I want to mention is the really nice acoustic guitar downstrum in the very last song called Moon Phase, which I think adds a very kind of subtle sense of finality that I also appreciated too. Again, I thought that was very well planned and also very well executed. In general, I do like Yuzuha's vocals. They aren't anything to really write home about, and I think that's primarily because there are a lot of effects placed over her vocals too. She is very intentionally trying to sound synthesized and almost robotic as sort of an extension of the electronic production, so that makes sense, but you can't really get a great feel for how good of a singer she might actually be. I think her breathy backing vocals sound fantastic on the song Go. On top of that, I also just love how she sings on the song Click on You, which is easily my favorite song on the album, and I just really love the like fun lyrics and the energy, and the hook is so incredibly catchy. Oh my god. And on top of that too, the song just kind of builds up and builds up and builds up, and it just keeps getting better and better and better every like 15 seconds. It's just so incredibly catchy, and like even now it's like running through my brain. And I think that's primarily because it's in English, because the hook is her saying click, 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 itsu demo, click, 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 click on you. And it's, oh, it's, God, it's so catchy. God damn it. I can't get it out of my mind. Ah! So aside from that, I do have like one bit of a con, and that is the song Wonder Time. I mentioned it earlier. That's the one that kind of has that sea shanty sort of vibe to it. I do like that song, but it is a little one note, and I do think that a lot of the songs on here are one note, but it's more so for the purpose of them being catchy and fun and danceable. Wonder Time isn't really danceable. It's like groovable, maybe if you're into that sea shanty bedroom pop stuff, but I just don't really see myself getting down to it in the club like I could for most of the other songs. While I don't dislike the song, I do think that Wonder Time is probably the weakest link on this album. Okay, closing thoughts time. I think to me, it really sounds like a celebration of life and the wonderful moments in it. And while most songs are centered around love, as the title of the album implies, I feel like songs like Kodama just really remind us of the importance of other things, like simple tranquility in the real world. And I think that's super cool. And that's not something that you really come across on a lot of albums. As I've mentioned all throughout this video, this is just a really fun album with just really catchy lyrics and production that are just absolute earworms. It also really succeeds at trying to capture that sort of early 2000s rock and techno sound, which I do find is a bit hard to balance in most modern albums. I believe I mentioned this in my review for that Moe album. There is another similar album that I compared that to at the time, and that would be Lil Uzi Vert's album Eternal A Take. While I do think that album got that 2000s techno sound right, I do feel like it got kind of too caught up in like one specific aspect of that very playful 2000s techno sound. And when trying to combine it with hip hop and rock, it just sort of fell apart, pretty much as a result of not really being able to juggle all of those parts very efficiently. So I guess another con I have is that I am a bit sad that this album is so short. Like I said, it's only 19 minutes. Though what I will say is that there's no real chaff on this album that really needs cutting. So that's nice. That's really nice to see, I think. So yeah, ultimately, I think I would give this album an 8 out of 10. I think to get a 9 or a 10, it would have required slightly better mixing and maybe fine-tuning Wonder Time a little bit more. Maybe adding another song or two would have been really nice as well, but that's not up to me. So I think otherwise, I just really enjoyed everything this album has to offer. I will also say I really like the cover of this album. I think it's very cute, and I think it seems very true to Yuzuha as a person. I think it really embodies how this album sounds very well, and I can only give it higher marks because of that too. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I think this is a very well-placed 8 out of 10 album for all sorts of reasons as I've described. And I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to whatever she comes out with next, because if it's just more of this, ooh, I might just have to make a club so I can dance in it. I'm so excited. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one, and keep it real and go listen to this album. It's super fun. So bye.